The NFL is giving the Denver Broncos zero respect. And you know what? I'm actually good with that. Bringing in the latest ESPN power rankings post free agency in the draft, we have to scroll all the way down here before we find the Denver Broncos at number 31, only ahead of the worst team in the league last year, the Carolina Panthers. The post free agency ranking has Denver dropping down 27 spots. That's ridiculous. Okay, this is from a respected ESPN analyst in Jeff Legwold. So do with that what you will. I do highly respect the opinions of Jeff Legwold. He's very connected to the Denver Broncos building, but I strongly disagree with this given ranking. And I do feel that Legwold makes a great point here about Denver being very much improved on the defensive line. The Broncos trading for defensive end John Franklin Myers during draft week was one of the best under-the-radar moves of the three-day affair. Denver acquired a player who will play and have an impact across its entire defensive front for a swap of 6th and 7th round draft picks. Franklin Myers is a highly productive player who consistently pressures opposing passers. Couple that with the addition of Malcolm Roach, a powerful interior player who should help what was a wobbly run defense at times last season, and that's putting it nicely. The Broncos have improved in that area. I still don't know how whoever made this decision to order these rankings got number 31 for the Denver Broncos. You could argue the Denver Broncos are improved on multiple different fronts. I want to bring in this tweet here from Nick Kendall that's actually a really good exercise. All of the positions for the Denver Broncos where a new starter is projected for the 2024 season. And Nick is asking here on this tweet, which of these Broncos 2024 projected starters are you assuming will be better and outperform the player that they replaced in 2023? Starting off here with quarterback, going from Russell Wilson to Bo Nix. Nick doesn't necessarily feel like that's going to be much of an improvement. I feel like it will be an improvement strictly because Bo Nix is actually going to be able to execute Sean Payton's true offense. Quick throws over the middle. RPOs. I feel like we'll finally see RPOs back in Denver. That's something that I've been begging for a long time. Hopefully that's something we do indeed see. Just little quick throws that pick apart these Vic Fangio-style zone defenses. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the channel. Just the ability to operate on time, in rhythm, in the structure of the play is going to be a big improvement at the quarterback position for the Denver Broncos, in my opinion. Yes, Russell Wilson made those big flashy plays in the red zone and on third down that kept drives alive for Denver, but he had an equal amount of drive-killing sacks. So you could really analyze this a bunch of different ways, but the way I'm going to analyze it is just because Sean Payton's going to finally get a quarterback who can execute his offense, that is going to be significantly an improvement at the quarterback position for the Denver Broncos in 2024. There's going to be growing pains with a young rookie quarterback, but I believe that we will see an improvement at the quarterback position from last year to this year. Center, I cannot say the same thing because of how well Lloyd Cushenberry played in 2023. In 2022, that was not the case, but last year, Lloyd Cushenberry turned his game around and was one of the top centers in the NFL. It got him a very sizable contract with the Tennessee Titans. Alex Forsythe is going to step in, and he's got that chemistry with Bo Nix, which is certainly a positive, and Forsythe was viewed as a starting caliber player coming out of the draft. It was poor testing at the combine that kind of sealed his fate as a 7th round pick. For me, Forsythe is going to come in and provide starting level play at the center position, and the chemistry that he has with Bo Nix is going to help. I just don't think that it's going to be at the same level of Lloyd Cushenberry's play last season, where again, he was one of the top centers in the game. Pivoting to the wide receiver position with Jerry Jeudy being replaced by either Marvin Mims or Josh Reynolds, depending on who wins out that role, I believe that that's going to be either a lateral move to an improvement, depending on which of these two players end up standing out. If Josh Reynolds ends up winning that job, I think that this could be more of a lateral move. But if Marvin Mims is able to develop his route tree beyond just getting open on go balls, he's got the physical talent to raise that ceiling for me, because Jerry Jeudy never hit his ceiling at the NFL level. Marvin Mims has a chance to get up to maybe not exactly the same ceiling as a Jerry Jeudy, who had the pedigree of being the 15th overall pick in 2020, but Mims can certainly be a very, very elite caliber receiver. He's got those physical tools. He's just got to get better with his route running. The speed is there, but right now, if you look at Marvin Mims from his advanced route tree, again, he's only getting open on one, maybe two routes. He's got to get better in that category. If he does, I could see a ceiling raised at the wide receiver position, given Judy's lack of achievements over these last few years. Defensive ends, just like Jeff Legwold said in his article, John Franklin Myers is going to be a massive, massive upgrade over Jonathan Harris, who was only starting because he was the only player in that position who was going to hold his own and not crap his pants out there. That's just being frank. The Broncos' defensive line was a problem last year. It was soft and squishy up front, and it led to embarrassing games such as the Miami Dolphins game and the Detroit Lions game, where the Broncos just got ran all over the field by their opponent because they could not do anything in the middle to stop it. John Franklin Myers, Malcolm Roach coming in will hopefully tie that all together a little bit more and make our defensive line more formidable than it was last year. And I'm just going to be honest, that's not a very hard task at hand for them because of how bad it was last year. So this is absolutely a move where the Denver Broncos got better. Linebacker, going from Josey Jewell to either Cody Barton or Jonas Griffith, whoever wins the starting job alongside Alex Singleton, the anticipation that it's going to be Barton. I do think from a locker room leadership perspective, the Broncos did take a massive, massive loss with Josey Jewell. Josey Jewell is one of the most revered guys in that locker room by the younger players. Veterans had a lot of respect for him as well. So Josey Jewell being gone is going to hurt the Broncos from a leadership perspective, but on the field, I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off between Jewell's play and Barton's play. It's all going to depend also on which player between Barton and Singleton, or Griffith if he wins the job, will get the green dot for Denver, because Josey Jewell was their green dot. That's going to be a massive change for whoever does win that job. I'm going to say this is probably going to be a slight downgrade because of the loss of leadership from Josey Jewell, as well as the loss of the green dot player, the defensive signal caller. At boundary corner, Fabian Moreau last year, especially in the final part of the year, was borderline unplayable. Levi Wallace or Riley Moss, depending on who wins that job, should be an upgrade on paper from late season Fabian Moreau. I'm hoping, obviously, it's going to be Riley Moss who wins that job, but even if it's Levi Wallace, he should at least provide competent level play at the second boundary corner spot alongside Pat Surtain. Jaquan McMillan is going to continue to grow and develop at nickel, and hopefully the sky will continue to be the ceiling for him. And then with safety, there is going to be a downgrade going from Justin Simmons to Brandon Jones. There just is. But I also, again, think that Brandon Jones is going to be able to come in and be a starting caliber player. They just lost one of their biggest leaders in the locker room and one of their biggest presences on the field in Justin Simmons defensively. That it is just by nature going to be a downgrade. It will be, but that's not to say that Brandon Jones is a bad player or I think he's going to struggle for the Denver Broncos. I think he's going to play well, just maybe not as well as a Justin Simmons. So for me, all this translates to, I just don't see the Denver Broncos being a significantly worse football team than they were last year. They might not get some of the plucky turnovers that they had during that 5-game winning streak, but given the aggressive style of defense that Vance Joseph trended towards in that 5-game winning streak, and even in the back half of the season, they just didn't have the personnel who could match up with the scheme. I think that the Denver Broncos could build their identity defensively off of turnovers once again in 2024. And if they pair that with an offense that should on paper be better just by the improvement at the quarterback position alone, then for me, the Denver Broncos shouldn't be much worse than they were last year. They even have a chance to get better. In my way too early record predictions for the Denver Broncos last year after the season came out, I had the Broncos winning 8 games once again for the second year in a row. That feels like the floor for the Denver Broncos. I think that if they're able to maybe get an upset over the Baltimore Ravens on the road, just like they did the Buffalo Bills last year, maybe get some of those lucky turnovers, that could potentially raise Denver's ceiling. If they're able to sweep one of their divisional opponents, if they're able to sweep the Chargers, maybe sweep the Raiders, then that could raise the ceiling for the Denver Broncos as well. There are a couple of games on their roster that I really don't know how to pick because we don't know what the state of their opponent is going to be as we get later on into the season. Teams like the Indianapolis Colts, the Cleveland Browns, those teams are big wild cards heading into 2024. So I don't know what those teams are going to be like come week 13 and week 15 when we play those two teams. That could also sway Denver's record in one direction or another. To tie this all together, though, Broncos country, this 31st overall power ranking is asinine to me. And power rankings are just that. They're a stat that's been developed by somebody who's an outsider who doesn't who's just human at the end of the day. They're just making projections. This isn't an end-all be-all by any stretch of the imagination, Broncos country. I strongly anticipate the Denver Broncos will outperform this 31st overall power ranking, and if they don't, that would probably put Denver in position to draft a top-tier quarterback if Bo Nix doesn't work out. Because let's just be honest here. If Denver ends up with a bottom 5 record next year or a bottom 3 record, it's because Bo Nix did not pan out. And they're probably going to have to go back to the well at the quarterback position, just like the Arizona Cardinals did, going from Josh Rosen to Kyler Murray. But that is very far down the road. I'm hoping we don't ever even get close to that point and the Denver Broncos raise their ceiling for the 2024 season. All right, Broncos country, let me know in the comment section below, if you had to redo these power rankings, where would you have Denver ranked? I'd probably have Denver ranked somewhere in the 20s, but not all the way down at 31. That, I feel like, is a little bit of a stretch for me. But let me know what you guys think. Drop those comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are 2 free and easy ways to show your support. We are trying to get to 3,500 subscribers by the end of the month. I think that is very doable. We've gained over 300 subscribers these past 2 weeks. I think it's very possible to gain 200 in these next 2 weeks. All right, Broncos country, and until next time, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.